Hi there, this is Stu Rayner at the Stu Rayner Drawing School, and I haven't done one of these kind of chats for a while, so I thought I might. I had a very, very strange comments last week on on both my websites, Draw Stuff Real Easy and Stu Rayner Drawing Channel on YouTube. I think they were by somebody who's in a bad emotional state at the moment. Anyway, I've erased them, and they worried me all week. It just kind of got into me, and they were going on about copying. I was copying somebody else I'd never heard of, and whatever. Anyway, so I thought I'd talk about copying, and people get really kind of funny about copying. There's the legal bit about copyright. Obviously, if you're going to be making money out of drawing and stuff like that, then you can't go around copying other people. But copying is actually a brilliant way of learning how to draw, and copying how other people draw, other people's styles, and it's not a bad thing. Get over that. It's a really good thing to do, and I can remember. Most of you started off drawing Disney cartoons and things like that, and you're just copying, and each time you copy and you learn to draw Mickey Mouse or Pluto or whatever, Bart Simpson, your hand kind of learns these curves, and your hand learns how to do things, and a lot of drawing is about making these lines and repeating them and repeating them and repeating them and understanding them and learning them, and all those lines then become part of your vocabulary of how to draw. So don't worry about copying from the greats. One of my heroes is Sir Isaac Newton, who lived about 400 years ago, and who invented, well, he didn't invent gravity, it was there all along, but he kind of was the first one to discover the principles of gravity. He was the first one to explain the principles of gravity and to kind of really understand what was going on with gravity. And you all know the story, whether it's true or not. He was sitting under an apple tree, and this apple fell down either on his head or next to him or something, and that triggered something in his brain, and off he went. But he could only have that moment because of everything he'd learned before, and you could say that he was copying every scientist before and everything that he'd ever read before, to be able then to take that leap of imagination to go into something new. And it's exactly the same with learning to draw. You have to copy everybody else's stuff, and learn how other people have done it, to reach that point where you have this vocabulary to be able to go forward and do your own thing. It's just like a writer. A writer starts off copying, other people's styles and whatever it is, but having built up their vocabulary of words and styles, suddenly they get this idea in their head, a new story, and off they go and they do their own thing, and become rich and famous or whatever, and produce something new. Newton himself said, I've got it written down here just so I can get it right. Newton himself said, if I have seen further than others, it is because I was standing on the shoulders of giants. And that's what he means, is he copied everybody. But by copying everybody, he reached this point where he was equal with everybody, to be able then to build and grow on top of that. And that's really what you need to do with drawing. And don't worry about copying other people's. Of course, you can't go around selling Bart Simpson things and claiming them that they're yours, because, Matt Groening did Bart Simpson. But by drawing Bart Simpson or whatever it is, copying me, copying my style, whatever, doing my lessons, you will learn something, and you will be learning this vocabulary of hand movements, of marks, of style and design, and all the time. I noticed it particularly in my writing. My stories, I really learned mostly off two people. One was Rosa Impey, and one was Michael Morpurgo, who's now incredibly famous. And I illustrated books for Michael Morpurgo when I was much younger. I don't know, about sort of 15, 20 years ago or something. Probably quite a long time ago. And every book that I wrote after that, I could hear Michael Morpurgo's voice in my writing, and it used to really annoy me, and I think, when am I going to get Michael Morpurgo out of my writing? And then I started a new series, I don't know, probably more, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, called Ricky Rocket. And and I was very pleased with it when it went out. And somebody then, a teacher, emailed me and said, "Oh, we've been writing our own Ricky Rocket stories at school. Could we send you a story?" And they sent this story back, and I read it, and I thought, oh, they're copying me. And I realised there was no Michael Morpurgo in this story at all, and I'd found my own voice. But I'd managed to do that by standing on Michael Morpurgo's shoulders and learning from him and moving forward in my own direction of adding my own bit and finally finding my own voice. And it's the same with drawing. When I first left art college, I had a folder full of artwork, but it was all copies of other people's styles. And I would go around knocking on the doors of publishers with my folder under my arm saying, give us some work, I can do it. And I got rubbish work. I got, we need this to look like that. We need this to look like that. And I was just treated as a kind of, somebody who would do some drawings. And one thing and another, eventually I spent about 6 months just really focusing on what I thought was my best, and I kept throwing this out, throwing that out. And in the end, I had a portfolio. It was only about 10 pieces of work, but they all looked like me, and it was just my style. And I went up to London, started knocking on doors, and I was welcomed. And it was, sit down, have a cup of coffee, let's chat, because I kind of found my own style. But I managed to do that by standing on the shoulders of giants and the people before and copying them. But there comes a time when you have to find your own style, and that's fine. And if you manage it, then you're really, really lucky. A lot of people never manage that, but I think it just takes work. You've got to really sort of dig inside yourself to find who you are and what it is you're trying to say. But then don't worry about building on other people's work and learning from them. So that's what I have to say about copying other people's work. Don't copy it and sell it, because then you'll get caught out. Don't copy it and claim it's yours, because you will get caught out, okay? But copy it and say, I'm learning, and learn from what other people have done, because they've done exactly the same thing. And it's this information is passing through the centuries down to you by copying other people's stuff, okay? And it's just stuff that other people learn, and by copying them, they are teaching you. So there we are. End of today's sermon. So this has been Shoo Rayner. This is the Shoo Rayner Drawing Channel on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and keep drawing, keep copying, keep practicing, and I'll see you next time. You take care now. Bye bye.